Hello everyone, welcome back to pythonvibes YouTube channel. In today's video, we will be diving deep into the core architecture of Django, exploring the MVT pattern, model view template architecture, and understanding the purpose of various files within a Django project and app. It helps in making it crystal clear even for beginners. Understanding these files is like understanding the building blocks of your Django web applications. Let's get started. In Django, we follow the MVT architecture, which stands for Model View Template. And here, basically, this model handles the data logic, representing the database schema, and performing operations like database queries and data manipulations. And coming to view, this view processes the user request, contains the business logic, interacts with the models, and returns the appropriate responses. And then next, template. This defines the presentation logic, specifying how the data is displayed to users through HTML templates. So basically, when the interviewer or anyone asks you what is the Django flow or the Django architecture, you can explain this. And if they ask for the entire flow in Django, how it works, then you can explain in this way. Like whenever a user requests any URL or any, if he sends any request to the from the client side, so that will be going to the Django framework, and inside this Django framework we are having URL. So this is the endpoint he is going to enter. So once the endpoint is requested, then based on the URLs we defined in urls.py, it will decide which view to be called, and then after that it will, in the view, we will be defining the business logic. So based on that, it will decide whether to interact with the DB or any model or anything. Then it will interact and it will fetch the data accordingly, and then it will send the data to the presentation layer, which is nothing but the template, so that user can see the response from this entire Django application. So that is how the Django architecture is working here. So now let's start the files in Django project. These files are crucial for setting up the foundation of your web application. So basically, we will see what are the files in project. So we will be having manage.py and then init.py. Inside this project folder, we will be having these files: init, settings.py, urls.py, wsgi.py, and asgi.py. And then we also have app folder, right? So inside this app, we have init, admin, apps, models, test, and views.py. I'll explain one by one what is happening. I'll create one project for an example and then I will explain it. So here I'll be creating one project using the Django admin start project. I'll just give a name for my project. My first project is the name I given. So I'll enter into this my first project. I have opened the project which I have created in the PyCharm, and we will go one by one. So here manage.py file is there and the project folder also there. So this project folder, whatever is there, this is the heart of your Django project. And this manage.py, imagine this as your project's command center. You can use it to run various commands like starting the web development server and managing the database migrations. It's your go-to tool for managing your project. So inside this Django project folder, we could see these are all the files. So basically this settings.py file is like you can consider it as a control room for your project. So it holds all your project settings like database settings and installed apps. You can customize your Django project behavior here. So when I open it, you could see that debug is true. So when you want to debug your code, you can enable it. Otherwise, when you are deploying into production, you actually need to make it to false, so that the errors or whatever are being there, right, that won't be visible to the users as it is. Users in the sense clients. So you should always make this debug to false whenever you are deploying your project. But for now, I am keeping it as true so that we can see what how to debug or how to see the errors, and based on the errors we can debug it. And inside this installed apps, we can configure our apps and middlewares also there, and we can even add our static files if there are any. And here you can manage the databases settings, and defaultly will be given with the SQLite 3 database in the Django, and some of the other settings also there that we can make use of. So this is where we will be making our project settings. So next, coming to the urls.py, and here This is the map of your project. It defines the URL patterns that your project understands. When a user types a URL, Django uses this urls.py to figure out what view to show. So that is how, like, we can define our URLs are the entry points in this urls.py file. And coming to the wsgi.py, this stands for web server gateway interface. This is like a bridge between your Django application and a web server like Apache or Nginx servers. So it helps your Django app communicate with the outside world. And the next one is asgi.py file. This stands for asynchronous server gateway interface. This is similar to wsgi.py, but it is designed to handling the asynchronous operations. As the Django evolves, async support becomes important, and asgi.py is here to handle it. And next, I'll just create one app inside this. I'll just do dir, and then using the Python manage.py, I'll start an app here and I'll give the name it as my first app. So if you run it, you could see this, it has created the my first app here. I'll do one thing, I'll change my settings. So now I'll just go to, after I created this my first app, I'll go to my settings.py file of this project, and then I will register this app in the installed apps list just by entering the name of the app which we have created, so that this project will contains this my first app. So we are just registering into, we are mapping this app with this project. So that is what we are doing it here by adding this my first app under the installed apps section. So then what I will do, I'll just go to this place and then run the server, Django server, python manage.py run server. So this has given one URL. So we know that we are able to launch our project successfully. But now let's explore the files inside our Django app. So these files define the functionality of individual components in your web application. So basically this models.py, so this is like a data architect. This file defines your database schema. Each model represents a database table, and the fields inside the models define the table columns. It's like designing your blueprint for the data storage. And coming to views.py, this is where the magic happens. Like views handle the user request, they process the request and interact with the models if necessary, and decide what response to send back to the user. Views are the backbone of our web application logic. And if you want to add the app specific urls.py, then you can maintain that URLs. Basically that was just like in the project level. This file is the URL navigator for your app. It maps the URLs to specific views when the user types a URL specific to your app. So Django uses this urls.py to figure out which view to execute. And we also have admin.py file here. Django makes administration a breeze. In this file, you can register your models, enabling you to manage your app's data via the Django admin interface without needing to write a custom views and templates. And next, coming to this apps.py configuration file for your app. While small projects might not need this, it provides a way to configure app level settings. And then test.py, this is like testing is a developer's best friend, right? So this file is for writing the test for your app. So you can ensure your app works as expected by writing the test cases here. So I'll do one thing, I'll just go to this views.py file and write my first view here. Define, I'll just send some greeting here, like define welcome request. So request is the thing which is coming from the client side. So whatever the endpoint he is requesting, that is being considered as a first parameter for the view here. So I'll just return one response here. For that, I'll just have to import it from the django.http import http response. So I have imported this http response. I'll just return one message saying that welcome to Jango. We are glad to have you here. So this is the message. I just wanted to print it over the UI, and this is my first view which I had created, and for this I wanted to configure the endpoint in this project level urls.py file. So firstly I had to import these views inside this urls.py. For that, from my first project, my first app dot views, import what is the view name, welcome. So I'll just do one thing. Inside this URL patterns list, I will add this welcome slash, and the URL I will map it to this welcome. So I am done with the endpoint configuration, and then I will just go to this UI and then I will refresh. So this is coming because we, as I mentioned earlier, we have enabled the debug option to true in our project settings.py file. So that is the reason we could see the URLs here. So these are the URLs. If you don't want to show anything, any info, you can just set it to false so that users won't have any idea about what are the URLs URLs are the endpoints we have configured. So when I given the URL here, I can see the message saying that welcome to Jango. We are glad to have you here. So this is the message. Suppose I just wanted to pass some name here like Lisa, and I wanted to have some message saying that welcome Lisa, we are glad to have you here. So whatever the name we are passing it here, dynamically it should wish that person. So that is what our requirement, next requirement. So I'll just go to the views inside my app, and then along with the request parameter, I also pass the name variable argument to this. So I will take this entire thing into one variable saying as greet or else message equals to, I'll use f strings here, message equals to this one, and so we wanted to make it dynamic, right? So name dot, I wanted to keep it as title case letters each time, and welcome name dot title, we are glad to have you here, and then I will pass this message to this http response. We are done, but you know we can't pass this name here, so for that we need to make some changes here inside this urls.py. So after the welcome we are entering name, which is a type of string. So str, this anchor this brackets we need to enable, anchor tags str colon name, and then we can close it, and at the end we can keep this slash here. So I'll just go to UI and then I will reload it. When I reload it, I can see that again I have to pass a name here. So I'll just pass one name here after this welcome so that it should dynamically greet that person. So for now I'll just pass it as Kevin. So welcome Kevin, we are glad to have you here. So I'll pass another name here, Naina. I'll make it as Naina like this. So at the end it is converting into title case, and it is wishing that person welcome Naina, we are glad to have you here. So this is how we can check, we can pass the dynamic parameters to our URLs. So we can make use of this URL endpoints configuration here. And when we load this Django server, we could see even the admin panel also. Let me go back to the admin panel by entering. So it is asking for the username and the password. I'll do one thing. I'll just go to terminal and I'll try to create a super user here. So this also we can create it by using the manage.py, python manage.py create super user. Okay, for this I have to make some migrations here because it is related to the database, right? So it is actually looking for the table. So for that reason, I need to make the migrations here. Python manage.py make migration. Firstly, I will just do python manage.py migrate. So now it has created, and then I will just do one thing, like I'll make sure that it is, I'm just confirming the commands, like whatever the changes it is shown now. So I'm just giving confirmation saying that just consider it for permanently, like python manage.py make migrations. So no changes detected. So we didn't make any changes after creating this database, right? So that is the reason it's not giving any changes here. It's not detected anything. So now I'll just do this python manage.py create super user. When we do it, it will ask for the user which you wanted to create. So let's say I had given Sarah, and email address I don't want to give it, and the password I will just give it as 123. And again it is asking for the confirmation I have entered here. So bypass password validation and create user anyway. So since I given just 123, that is not the right way to give the password, so it is giving this message. But anyhow I wanted to proceed further, so I given input as y. Yes, it should proceed further to create the user. So it has created the user. So I'll just go to this thing and then I will enter the details like Sarah, and I'll enter password as 123. So it is asking, it is showing all the groups and users here, and well, it is also giving me a message saying that welcome Sarah, and we can change the password and we can also log out of this thing. And if you go to users, we can manage the users, we can add the users here. So new user, I will just add it as Amit, and password I will set it as 1234, and again the same password I will enter and I'll save it. So that, one second, the password is too short, it must contain at least 8 characters. So this shouldn't be entirely numeric. So these all conditions to set, I'll just give it as capital D demo @ 123. This is my password, and again I will just give it demo @ 123, and then I will save the user. So I could see that the user has been created with this name. I'll just go to users and I will see Amit and Sarah are the two users here, and we can even group them and give the access accordingly. In like we can maintain the accesses, like some people shouldn't have some access to particular feature, so in that case we can maintain their access levels by creating the groups. If there are multiple members are there, and if you wanted to change their permissions or manage their permissions, we can create a group and maintain the user. So here where we have various permissions here, and we can select one by one and then create that group here, so that those all members will have this kind of same level permissions here. So we have covered the things on how the MVT structure will work and the purpose of each file in our Jango project, and the app also, the fundamental to building the robust web applications. By following this architecture and organizing our code effectively, we can create a scalable and maintainable and efficient web solutions. I hope this video is clarified the core concepts of Django architecture for you. If you have found this video helpful, please like, share and subscribe for more Django tutorials. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.